The decibel levels kept going higher and higher and higher every time India got a wicket, that I feel I'm almost deaf listening to what was happening in the stadium, because the Pakistan middle order has collapsed. They are out for 191 runs. India all over them. Welcome back to Cricbuzz Live. I'm Saiyami. I have Parthiv and Zach with me. Clinical, Zach. What more can an Indian fan ask for? We have a look at the summary here. 191 all out. Bumrah's got 2 for 19 in his 7. Kuldeep got 2 for 35 in his 10. Jadeja got 2 for 38 in 9.5.
Well, amazing display of bowling. There's no doubt about it, and it has to be applauded because the game didn't start the way India would have liked. It felt like Pakistan batters were actually putting Indian bowlers under pressure. If you look at the game at 30 over mark, just before Babar's dismissal, you will think that okay, now the game is setting up to be 270, 300, depending on how the game is going to go on from there, because that's what you usually look to gauge around 30 over mark. If you have wickets in hand, which Pakistan did at 29 overs, they had 8 wickets in hand, and from there to go down in such a way, no one was expecting that. Things just kept getting out of hand. A few good deliveries, few soft dismissals. It was combination of all, but certainly an innings which Pakistan would want to forget, because the way they started it and the way they lost their way, no one was thinking that way. So that's why the bowling effort of Indian team has to be applauded, because they kept in the game, they kept believing, they created those scenarios. There was a hint of reverse swing, but we'll talk in detail about all that. But I think on the whole, it was just a terrific effort by Indian bowlers.
PP, before a board exam, when you really pray and study, saying, Yaar, kal let everything go well, just what I have studied should happen. So it almost felt like India's bowling was that, because it's everything they could have prayed for has happened today.
Yeah, I thought, just the way Zach said, that Pakistan batters started really well, but that was because of Indian bowlers were trying to swing the ball, they were trying to pitch it up, and they quickly realized that this is not the wicket which it looked like. Everyone talked about that it's a flat wicket, but they quickly pulled their length back, and they bowled a lot of balls in the stumps, and that's why we saw a lot of dismissals of LBW and bowled. So I thought it was a good display of bowling in terms of knowing the condition and using it to good effect. So you got to give that credit to Indian bowlers and the way the Rohit Sharma rotated the bowlers. Every time he sensed that there could be a chance of wicket, he brought in their main bowlers. So I thought, overall it was brilliant performance by Indian bowlers. Especially, it's not just it's a 3 in a row good bowling performances. One against Australia, even in Afghanistan, though you would say 270, but looking at the condition and ground, I thought bowlers bowled really well there, and even today also. No?
We'll get to the bowlers and we'll speak about it at length. But, it's just the batting collapse. It almost feels like Pakistan didn't know what hit them, What Babar said in the press conference, like PP, you were talking about how he has to say that, no, it's just another game. But clearly the pressure has gotten to the Pakistani batters.
Well, you have to say that because the way they started and where they have ended, those two things are not matching. So because of that, you have to say that at 29.4 over mark, they lost their third wicket. Which was Babar Azam. And after that, if you see if I remember it correctly, 6 overs, they lost 5 wickets in the next passage of play, had scored only 19 runs, didn't really give them a breather. One wicket always brings pressure. But you have another one falling and then another one falling, and then it just keeps on adding. I think in that phase, if you see that Kuldeep's spell was very crucial. Bumrah, no doubt, getting rid of Rizwan at that stage with that nice slower one, and then bowling a unplayable delivery to Shadab. But what was evident was Pakistan batters were missing the length of Kuldeep. It was constantly you could make out that they were going on the back foot for the deliveries which were pitched up, and I think that was something which didn't really help their cause, because that middle phase they needed to consolidate to a certain degree. Babar and Rizwan did that job. They did the tough job of getting the team to that level of that milestone which you see, 30 overs, just around that, 150 runs. 20 overs to go, wickets in hand, let's put bowlers under pressure, let's get them defensive and get that 300 total on board, was something which was expected out of them. but they failed to do that. It must be very disappointing for them because they had done all the hard work of getting to that platform. Uh, Pressure getting to them. I think that's the only way you can sum it up.
You know, we spoke about pressure in the pre-match show, Parthiv, but we were sitting and watching the game together. The first few overs, it almost felt like this is a flat track. It's going to go much beyond our prediction. It's going to be a 300 plus score. And then they lost those 2 wickets. But then both Rizwan, Babar consolidated a partnership. But as soon as Babar got out, it was just like the floodgates opened, and one after the other, they all just kept falling like a pack of cards.
Yeah, it did. I think you can see that by the bowling rotation of Rohit Sharma also. While we were thinking that it might just go beyond 300, I'm sure they were also thinking in those lines, because usually you don't see Mohammad Siraj coming and bowling that 27th over. Usually that fast bowler comes in after 30th over, and that's when Rohit Sharma was trying to get few overs out of Mohammad Siraj, because he knew that if partnership is prolonged, then he'll needed few bowlers to bowl at the end, and that's why he was keeping Bumrah's over intact. So I thought Zach rightly put it across that the Pakistani batters were actually missing out on picking the length of Kuldeep Yadav. I thought they were playing the trajectory more than the length, because Kuldeep was bowling that flat trajectory. They always thought that it is falling short, or maybe it is short of good length, but they were kept going back, and it shows the mindset also. Usually when you're in an attacking mindset, when you want to score runs, you try and go on front foot. You don't go too much on back foot. So, but once Babar got out, once Rizwan got out, I don't think Pakistan had that answer. And as you said, that they didn't know what hit them, and they did not know the plan B. They had gone with plan A that was clicking them till 29th over, and suddenly after that they lost their way.
Well, let's have a look at the heroes of today. It was an ensemble cast because everyone performed in today's game. Zach, if we want to start with, should we start with Bumrah? Because we should, fast bowler in the house, we should start with what Bumrah did. Very economical, and just it was so wonderful to see him use that almost that off cutter which got that wicket.
Well, you have to look at that bowling card and say that, oh, what a day Indian bowlers had. Pretty much everyone contributing. Shardul just missing out on opportunities. I think just bowling those 2 overs. But other than that, you have 5 bowlers picking up 2 wickets each. Is the most ideal day a fast bowling coach can imagine. It must be a dream bowling card for Paras.
Paras will be smiling today, year to year.
But Bumrah, you putting it correctly. It looked like Pakistan batters were on very, very defensive mindset when they were facing Bumrah. That's something which the reputation of Bumrah to a certain degree got to them. Shafiq was the only guy I felt who was looking to be positive against Bumrah. Other than that, if you see, everyone were very tentative, very defensive. So that advantage Bumrah had, but those 2 deliveries, the wicket-taking deliveries, were just outstanding. Bowling that slower one, just doing enough to beat Rizwan's bat, getting him clean bowled, and that Shadab delivery was just too good for him. Just hint of reverse swing, enough to do, and then getting rid of Shadab was just phenomenal. I think on the whole, if you look at it, that 10 overs or 12 overs or 13 overs were just phenomenal for India, where they just kept picking wickets, getting 8 wickets in that passage of play. Just simply amazing.
Parthiv, Zach's talking about how Bumrah was so clinical. They were a little defensive against Bumrah in the initial 2-3 overs that he bowled. But we've spoken a lot about that new outswinging ball that he's learned. But it's always so nice to see quintessential Bumrah and him bowling that slower one a little early in the innings. That too.
That's what he does. That's his strength has been. So far that gives him wickets. He understands the conditions really well. He knows which ball to use when, and that's how he has been bowling. He understood this is not the pitch where I don't have to try and swing it up, or I don't have to try and bowl those big in swingers. If I just keep bowling back of the length, keep hitting that top of the off stump, and use my Yorkers and slower one in between, and that's exactly what he has been doing. Yes, Pakistan's mindset helped him to bowl in that area, but you can't take anything away from Bumrah's understanding of the game and understanding the situation, where to bowl which ball.
Well, Zach, let's now get to Siraj, because that I'd really like you to decipher that ball. He was bowling cross seam. Maybe Parthiv was talking about in the com box is, when you're not very confident with the way you're bowling, you bowl cross seam. But did it stay low because of the cross seam, or did it skid on? What happened in that ball?
It did skid on, but I think Siraj, if you look at the way he started the innings, I think he was bowling either side of the wickets and was not really helping him. Was being put under pressure because of that. I think he's just going through that phase where that spell which he's bowled, which is a dream spell of getting 6 wickets in that Asia Cup finals. After that, you kind of shift from the process. So you just need to kind of get into that zone of following the process, bowling that channel, getting the ball in the right areas, all those kind of things, and things which really help you build a good spell. So that is something which he has to focus on. Today, he got back to that as the game progressed. So if you see what he did later, which we all know what Siraj does, which is just attacking the stumps, keeping it very simple, not enough help on offer at that stage in the first spell, and then just the second spell when he came on to bowl. What it did was bowl that cross seam delivery, which didn't hit the seam, and it just skidded through. So that is something which worked for him later on. When Babar got out, there was a hint of reverse at that stage, and Babar was clearly late on the delivery. But what worked for Siraj in whatever cricket he's played so far is that when he keeps things simple, he just attacks the stump. He's not thinking of wickets, but he's thinking of the process and hitting those right areas, and then from there letting the ball do the rest, letting the pitch do the rest, and that is his success formula. I think today's comeback spell, I would say, will help him get into that zone. If he's able to do that, then he will get back to the Siraj which we know. Otherwise, in the first few overs, he's getting too anxious. He's trying hard to look at that first wicket, and in the process, he's maybe not able to be consistent with the lines, which resulting in boundaries, which resulting in more pressure on him.
But, Parthiv, you spoke about it in the pre-match show as well, that he's just had one off game. Of course, the Asia Cup, he did what he did. These wickets under the belt will give him the confidence that Zach's talking about?
Yeah, I think, wickets, that's what you want. As a batter, you want runs, and as a bowler, you want wickets. That's the only way to, get your confidence back. Yeah, sometimes, when you're bowling well and you're not getting wickets, then also your confidence will stay high. But when you're getting hit for runs and not getting wickets, can, put you down, can put you under pressure, especially after the kind of performance you have shown in the final, where it was a dream performance. So that's when you try and do things extra. That's exactly what he said. He was trying to do extra things. You tend to put extra pressure on yourself to replicate that performance, which is not easy, and that's something which Siraj has been chasing. So for him, it is easier way to get back to basics, which he did. I think credit to him the way he made a comeback. He didn't have a good first spell. Even in second spell, first couple of overs, it did go for those boundaries, but then he showed his composure and went back to basics, and that basic is to find a length which can hit the top of the off, and that's exactly what happened with Babar. So when you take a wicket like this, when your wicket can turn the match around, will give him that kind of confidence which is needed now for Siraj.
Well, then it was the spin duo of India, both Kuldeep and Jadeja, which completely, they suffocated the Pakistani batters. Kuldeep got those 2 wickets in 1 over, which totally derailed them. But both very impressive. Jadeja in his first over, Zach almost got Rizwan, but then the review went against him. Very impressive, both of them.
Yeah, and those signs were there little bit when Jadeja came on to bowl. There was little bit of grip, not consistent. I still felt that on the whole, till about 30 over mark, it looked like a pitch where it's an even game. If you apply yourself well as a batter, you will be able to score runs. You've seen the outfield was also nice and fast outfield. So boundaries were coming. They were able to rotate. So that passage of play was very important from that point of view. Rohit brought in Kuldeep early today, so Jadeja had to wait a little. He came into bowl after Kuldeep being brought into the attack, but he was on the money right from the word go with that almost dismissal of Rizwan, just missing the leg stump and Rizwan taking that review. But other than that, I think Jadeja was doing what Jadeja does. He was keeping it simple, wicket to wicket, looking to turn the ball. And we've seen that every time there is little bit of help on offer, he's never going to disappoint you.
You know, Partha, the little technical changes that Kuldeep has done has just made him such a far improved bowler. So just a little bit more on Kuldeep, if you
Yeah, see,
can.
I think that's something which we've been talking about, the increase in his pace through the air. I think that's something which is very evident, where he's deceiving those batters in the air, just off the wicket. There isn't much of turn, but if you look at the Saud's dismissal also, that was he was yes he initially when he did not have that pace off the pitch, even if you misread him through the length, there was a time for you to adjust. But here now that Kuldeep has increased that pace, if you made a little mistake, then you don't have that time to make a comeback, and that's exactly what happened in that dismissal. And in recent past, if you look at the dismissals which Kuldeep is getting, those are a lot of bold and LBW dismissals. I think it shows that his balls are actually pitching in line and hitting the stump. So that's the reason why that alignment which we are talking about, that is following the ball and following the stump which is trying to hit, and that's where he's deceiving all the good quality batters. Iftikhar Ahmed is someone is a very good player of spin. He got a bit of a gift on first ball, but did Kuldeep came back and bowled that ball. Yeah, he did got help of Iftikhar's gloves, but still to take 2 wickets in 1 over, it actually helped India to get Pakistan get out from 191.
You know, Zach, Hardik, we spoke about him in the pre-match show as well, how he loves playing in Ahmedabad. He is not, doesn't seem like that bowler who's just that let's fill some overs. He's a proper first change, third seamer that we have. He got 2 wickets today, Imam and Nawaz. He was a little irritated with himself, we saw before the dismissal, because he gave away those 2 boundaries and then came back strong.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to remind himself what exactly he should be doing on this pitch and against that particular batter. He wanted to get the ball pitching up, and very next ball you saw the result. So it's about just shaking yourself at times, be it with anger, be it with frustration, but just switching it off and switching it on. So I think that moment, if I have to describe it, it was just that moment in Hardik's spell, because he was on the expensive side. If you see, just leading up to that, he was bowling on the little shorter side. Wicket is not that helpful to bowl those kind of lengths. So he knew that he had to alter the length, and that moment was just exactly the transition of that. After that, if you see, his lengths were consistent in whatever overs he bowled post that. And that wicket also helped, because the batter coming in also needs to consolidate. So that passage of play was just explanation or example of that. A bowler understanding what is he's supposed to do on this pitch, then going and executing, resulting in wickets, and then things just settling down for him. Leading up to that moment, he had gone for few boundaries which were reflecting on his bowling analysis. But that wicket certainly helped, and he's definitely looking very determined to do something with the ball. I think that's a great sign for the Indian team, that he's wanting the ball. He's wanting to make that impact every time the ball is in his hand, and he understands the importance of the spells which he will be bowling in this World Cup.
No, PB, it's almost like Parthiv always wants to contribute when it's Pakistan. He always, Hardik wants to contribute when he's playing against Pakistan. So it was again today. Yeah, slip of the tongue, because it's Parthiv here. So, so he's done that again today.
He has, and that's exactly what I think. That's something which he did before that wicket ball. That's what the captains do. When you get into that huddle, they captains always say that let's stick to the plan. We've made these plans. We're going to bowl this length. We're going to bowl this line, and that's exactly what Hardik did that. And every time he's played against Pakistan, be it with bat or a ball, he wanted always that he's someone is that kind of character. He always wants to be in thick of actions, and there is no better game than Pakistan, and especially on a stages like this. But to make a comeback is something which is very important, because when you're playing in this kind of game, you can easily get carried away. You can easily put pressure on yourself. But just he hold himself back, and again same thing, went back to basics, thought I'll hit those line, and I think he told something to the ball that I want wicket at this ball, and he did it. So that's a great sign for us. Zach said, if you look at our bowling analysis, Shardul Thakur is your main frontline bowler, and he has bowled only 2 overs, and Hardik coming in and contributing the way he is, that's a good sign for Indian bowling lineup.
Zach, just a little bit on this pitch, because it started playing flat, but then it started staying low. You're getting a turn. So what can the Indian batters make of this pitch?
Well, I think as the ball is going to get older, it's going to behave differently. I hope that whatever so far we've seen in the tournament, which is under lights, the wicket is going to play differently. There might be a due factor which Rohit tried to give emphasis to at the toss. So all those things we have to keep an eye. If that is the case, then it will certainly be a good news for the Indian team, knowing that you have restricted Pakistan after them being in a good position. Pakistan will surely be carrying this disappointment on the field when they are going to go and take the field to defend this total. So in these kind of games, you know that the momentum has shifted and is shifted in a very big way. So that's what Indian team will be feeling at this stage. They knew at 30 over mark, 150 runs, maybe you're looking at 270, 280. It's less than 200 you're chasing. I mean, what more do you want? So for Pakistan to now make the match out of this, it's going to be a very uphill task.
PP, I'm that fan who doesn't want to celebrate till it's done, because I'm always so nervous, biting my nails. The game against Australia, 199, we would get 200. Then the start, we all know what happened, 2 for 3. So India needs to be a little wary because of the Shaheen Afridi angle as well, and go cautiously. Can we say that?
And I don't think India needs to go cautiously. I don't think India will approach this game as cautiously, which we've been talking. I think, it's not a pitch like Chennai, where there was a lot of help in the wicket and some, the ball, there would be some turn. They're thinking about Zampa will come in, can he run through the side? So this is not the pitch where a bowler can come in and run through the side. Even if you look at India's bowling cut, no one has run through it. The wicket's been divided equally because everyone has bowled really well. But when you're chasing 191, as game progresses, the light will take that effect. Wicket will get slightly better. Ball will come onto the bat normally. But I don't think India needs to worry about that. Okay, it's Shaheen Shah Afridi. We'll have to play him cautiously. Once you start getting into that kind of mindset, then your footwork becomes slow, then you become more tentative. We just have to go out there and play the ball, and if India can manage to do that, I don't see any problem in India chasing down this total. So I don't think there's any threat. So you can stay relaxed, don't worry, we'll just enjoy the game easily.
I'll try staying relaxed, but like I said, I'm that very nervous fan. But Zach, it's under lights. Just Shaheen factor is something I'd like to ask you, because in the Asia Cup, when India attacked Shaheen, it worked well for them. When we were a little defensive against us, it didn't work well for India. So do you think we'll be looking at a more attacking approach?
Like you try and think of how situation will be in Pakistan dressing room at this stage. They know that they've fallen short from a great start. They will turn to their bowlers. They would want the bowlers to bail the batters out of this kind of a debacle. And from that point of view, Shaheen Shah is that one bowler who they will turn to. So they will hope that he will have the kind of start which will put them or give them some hope right now. Maybe what Australian bowlers did against India, that kind of a scenario, create that pressure zone, and then one change, Harris Rauf comes in, the dew doesn't come into play that much, the spinners bowl well, so there are so many things which have to go their way. But any team who's been short of a par score in a big way, those first few overs, they're going to come out, try to create that opportunity for them.
Yeah.
So you will see that kind of body language. You'll see everyone screaming, shouting, trying to cheer the bowlers up and hoping that they get that one over where they get a couple of wickets. So that's the kind of approach they will have. There's no doubt about it. And Indian batters will have to see that phase through. Shubman Gill is someone who everyone will be watching keenly right now because he's coming out of health issue, and we want to see how he goes on about it. Fielding for now less than 50 overs, which should be beneficial. But yeah, so all those kind of things. So the first few overs is going to give you that chance. But Pakistan have got a very uphill task ahead of them, and it's going to be very tough for them to turn things around from here.
But you know, Parthiv, just a little more on Shaheen because he's not the Shaheen that we've been seeing for the last few years. Vakar, spoke about how maybe he's trying too much and he needs to just stick to his basics.
Yeah, it has a lot to do with the bowling attack which he's been bowling with. Previously he had Naseem Shah bowling with him, so he knew that there is someone who's actually holding one end or bowling as attackingly as he used to bowl. So now that he's taking that pressure, it's like similar to what Siraj has been doing. They're trying to put pressure on himself, trying to become that man that I want to. If I don't take 2 wickets in 1 over or 2 overs, then we'll fall behind. So that's something which is happening. For Shaheen Shah Afridi, I think his biggest threat is to swing the ball. When ball swinging, then he becomes the most dangerous bowler, and that is something which is missing, and that is something which is Pakistan and everyone is talking about. So for him, this is an ideal match for him, to get back to that rhythm, because it's only 191, except those Pakistani dressing, no one is expecting them to win this game. So here he can go out there and try and go back to basics and try and see that ball is swinging again or not. And if he gets that, then he'll gain that confidence, and that'll help him in the upcoming matches which Pakistan will play. But yeah, I think again it's a similar case of Siraj and Shaheen Shah Afridi, that they are chasing wickets, and that's when they are altering.
But Zach, just one more thing I'd like to ask you. One is, yes, you don't get swing. The conditions are not favoring a swing bowler. But there is a stat apparently that there's only 12% of his deliveries which are above 140. And we know Shaheen for the pace which he bowls with. So what happens when the pace of a bowler suddenly drops? What can he fall back on?
No, I think it's a reflection of how his rhythm is right now. When you're not in great rhythm, you see these ups and downs in terms of pace and how you are releasing the ball. So that's something which we have to see. But this is the ideal kind of scenario, like how Parthiv is saying, and for Pakistan, all the bowlers also, that you can now stay in the game only by taking wickets. You have to get the team all out. If Indian team bats 50 overs, they will get the runs required. So it's in a way sometimes brings that instinct out, where right now you're not thinking of I will build the rhythm and I will get in the good areas, or I will try only few deliveries which are going to be express. You know that you are going to be that bowler who, if you need to bail the batters out, you have to go out there and look to just be aggressive, look to be thinking of taking wickets. See if set fields, which wicket might not be helping, but you still have to create those kind of scenarios. So I think Shaheen Shah will be approaching this innings like that. And if he does that, that's Pakistan's maybe only hope right now to start well, because everyone have been saying that their spinners have not been that great.
Yes.
That one gap is visible. Now you are below par, you're defending below par total. How are you going to go about it? So you're going to turn to Haris Rauf, you're going to turn to Hassan Ali, you're going to turn to Shaheen Shah Afridi. Between these guys, they need to create that impact, create that scenario, which is going to be only possible if they take wickets.
Well, if you have to turn to Rohit, can we expect a, firecracker of an innings, a 140 that he's coming out of against Afghanistan, BP?
No, he's going to play the way he has been playing. There is no need to change anything. He's been getting runs. He's been getting runs at a very good pace as well. So there is nothing he needs to change here. He batted brilliantly. He's in great form. He's got runs in Asia Cup. He's got runs in last game very convincingly. So when you're doing things, when the things are going your way, you don't have to change anything. You just have to go out there and just watch the ball and react. And that is the reason why Rohit's been successful in last 6 months, and that's how he should be batting. So it's not that there is no reason for him to go out there and step out first ball to Shaheen Shah Afridi. He can just be, what is great about Rohit Sharma's batting in the last 6 months in one-day cricket is that he's batting to his instinct. It's not that he's forcing those things. Yes, he has changed his approach, he has changed his mindset. He wants to be attacking, but it is still a lot of instinctive shots, those pull shots, hook shots, or whenever he's stepping down and hitting it over bowler's head. Those are those instinctive shots. So he's not creating anything there. So I don't think he needs to change anything here.
All right, there one time when I'm not complaining at all that our predictions were haywire because it was favoring Team India. But let's get to our prediction again, a new one this time. In how many overs is India going to chase down this target of 192?
But I think 36 overs is safely, you can say that even if they take their time up front, or even if they go heavy, the game might slow down in the in the middle overs as the ball gets older. So considering all those factors, yeah, 30.
I know you've become very confident that with 37 overs now we're talking about all of this. I feel 41 overs.
He's become very defensive.
I'll go in
Yes.
between for being the team player. So 36, 41, I'll take 38.
For Pakistan to actually win this game, they need to think it is a 40-over game
Yes.
and get the fifth over out of the way, and think that they need to get India out in 40 overs, which is not going to happen. But I think if Pakistan has to make a match out of it, they need to think as if this is only a 40-over game, and I'm going to bowl with only my 4 top bowlers and not to get that fifth bowler in it.
All right, so we'll wait and see how India does, and India's fans are all set to chase this target, and we are all set at Cricbuzz Live because Parthiv Patel has promised us he's going to give us a singing performance in our break. So we are going to go quickly there and hear Parthiv's singing performance. That's what we're going to do.
No one wants to do that KL Rahul.
Why do you want to go on the break? Let's just start.
वो भी कर सकते हैं. Let him do his riyaz in the break, and we'll come back in the post match and he can sing for all the viewers. Done, Parthiv. We'll do that. And we'll catch all at the 15th over point at the Cricbuzz com box. See you there.